It is a question that a lot of people have asked, and it is obviously a question that we have to discuss. Is Sylvanas' fate sealed with this, with the announcement of this novel? Obviously, it's something that a lot of people have wondered about. We actually did discuss this during the Twitch streams, but we'll have it now again because it just, you know, it makes sense. Why the fuck not? So first things first, let's quickly do a share screen here. I want you to just appreciate the cover art, right? To my mind, this is insane because it does show the two kinds or the two sides to Sylvanas, right? It shows the Ranger General, the one who did everything for her people, who ultimately gave her own life for her people. And yes, it is the color of Azerite, which I do believe is going to have a far greater story, or far greater place in the story, because I still believe that the one thing that people missed from Before the Storm, and the one thing that everyone seems to discount at this point, when Sylvanas touched the Azerite, there was a vision. Sylvanas saw a future in which she ruled the world. I believe that this future was shown to her by Azeroth as a way to set things in motion. So I think there's going to be far more revelations than just the surface things that we've been sort of thinking about up until now. But I love the cover art. I love the fact that it shows the sort of yin-yang from Sylvanas, the Ranger General, and Sylvanas, the Winter Queen, not the Winter Queen, fuck me, the Banshee, right? The Banshee Queen. So from my mind, amazing cover. I think it sort of sets a tone for the book in many ways, which is what I'm looking forward to most in this. What is sort of interesting is that they chose her earthly armor, right? They didn't choose her more armor for the book. Now, it could be because the book seemingly covers more the lead up to ultimately the opening of the veil than it does necessarily her in the veil. But I found it very interesting that they chose her sort of Banshee outfit when she was still the Queen of the Forsaken. And of course, for many, Forsaken still is the Queen of the Forsaken. But let's read the book. Do you guys wanna hear just some really fucking amazing stuff here that I think if you miss these things, if you don't read this book, you are gonna be completely lost. About the book: Ranger General, Banshee Queen, War Chief. Sylvanas Windrunner has borne many titles. To some, she is a hero. To others, a villain. But whether in pursuit of justice, vengeance, or something more, Sylvanas has always sought to control her own destiny. This, to me, is sort of the most important part of the entire About the Book section. This is the very thing that we've been talking about the whole time. And as I showed the other night on Twitch, Sylvanas' entire discussion, dialogue with Anduin was this: controlling one's own destiny. The ability to have a say in where you end up after life. The ability to have a say within life. What happens to you? These are things that Sylvanas wants, that she desperately craves the fundamental control over her own life. It's very libertarian in a way. The power to achieve her goals has never been closer. As Sylvanas works alongside the jailer to liberate all Azeroth from the prison of fate. Now, to me, this is sort of, maybe not, right? I am still of the belief that while What Sylvanas wants is truly this, and the About the Book actually does say it, right? It makes it very clear. There's no lies here. Sylvanas has always sought to control her own fate, or her own destiny. That's literally all she wants. This part, Sylvanas works alongside the jailer to liberate all Azeroth from the prison of fate. Now this is where I go, I do not believe that the thing Sylvanas wants is the thing the jailer wants. You see, I don't think the jailer gives a shit about actually liberating anyone. I think he wants to liberate himself, right? Because he is also the victim of fate, so to speak. The purpose, to my mind, the purpose is something that was sort of enforced onto the Eternal Ones. All of the other Eternal Ones, and I realize this is sort of big brain speculation, and it is definitely headcanon. It's nowhere to be, it's not confirmed. I've said before, I believe the purpose is a living, breathing thing. It's some kind of being that calls itself the purpose. The purpose came to the Eternal Ones of the Shadowlands and forced the Eternal Ones to change their ways. From the souls flooding into the Maw, going into Torghast, and from there, whatever they did with those souls, the purpose changed things. The purpose instilled the Arbiter, and all of the Eternal Ones had to bow the knee to this new being, this new way of thinking, this new deal within the Shadowlands. Zuvul was one of the few ones that refused. Zuvul would not bend the knee to an outside force. Instead, he fought on the side of death and ultimately lost. He was imprisoned alongside his master, right? Death. He was imprisoned alongside death and kept in chains to be controlled. So this is what he wishes to break. The chains that is set to control him, at least to my mind, right? So secure her final task, secure the fealty of their prisoner, King Anduin Wrynn. Now again, we get into this sort of discussion, and there was actually someone on Twitch, I think it was on Thursday, it may have been Friday though, but there was actually someone on Twitch that asked a very interesting question, and for that, of course, as always, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be going Sylvanas and Anduin cinematic. We're going to be pausing this because fuck it, and then we're going to be doing this.
I do hope you've settled in. The accommodations are a bit sparse, I know.
Where are the others? Are they safe?
I fucking love the sass, by the way. I've watched these cinematics a million times. As many times if you guys have watched it with me on stream, I've watched it more. I pretty much watch every single cinematic at least once a week. But I love the sass here. I love what Sylvanas is bringing to this, the sort of jokey side of things. She's definitely extremely fucking sarcastic in this first bit.
Safe? No. I wouldn't say any of them are safe.
I'm so tired of your games.
As you wish.
Just want to be clear, since we are looking into this, and the reason I'm showing all of you this is because this is directly related to this. Sylvanas isn't lying here. He said, Anduin just said, I'm so tired of your games. What's Sylvanas' next words? No more secrets, no more lies. I don't think anything Sylvanas is saying to Anduin here is a lie. She's not keeping secrets anymore. She's being very honest with what she wants, and the book backs that up.
Of your games.
As you wish. No more secrets, no more lies. You are a weapon we will use to achieve our ends.
I will not become an instrument of death.
So you favor life, is that it? That momentary flicker. Every
so cool.
second spent delaying the inevitable in an endless war that you, like every Wrynn before you, will not survive. You know the truth. Nothing is fair. Not life, not death. So we're going to tear it all down.
And it's this part that I think she genuinely wants to do that. She genuinely wants to tear it all fucking down. She genuinely needs to tear it all down, right? The book description literally says as much. She wants to set everyone free. That's literally what she wants. The jailer, however, genuinely does not want the same.
And what purpose would that serve? Everyone suffers, Sylvanas. But destroying everything will not take away the pain.
Oh, you misunderstand.
Again, very quickly, just sorry I keep interrupting because we're not even at the part where I want to be at. But he does misunderstand. Sylvanas is not looking to take away the pain. She's not looking to make things right. She's looking to make things free. Pain and suffering. So for those of you that don't know, as I said, if you read what Sylvanas wants to do, it is extremely libertarian, which is sort of interesting considering most liberals don't like libertarians, and I know that Christie Golden is a liberal. So the fact that she wrote Sylvanas, this libertarian, is sort of weird, but Sylvanas is 100% libertarian. And for those of you that don't know what libertarianism is, it is the pursuit of freedom above everything. So yes, suffering will be a part of life. There's gonna be suffering. There's gonna be bad shit that happens, but that's life. According to libertarians, there's nothing you can do about that, right? But as long as that suffering is by your own account and not by the account of someone else. So no one else is visiting suffering upon you. Only your choices can lead to your suffering. So it was sort of interesting to me to just see the way in which they're writing Sylvanas when, as a libertarian myself, it is so nice to have this character in the game. So people ask, why is Simple Sylvanas? It's not just because I think she's fucking hot. It's also because I love the way she views the world, because it fits with my worldview. So yeah, to me, it makes so much more sense now.
We're breaking a system that has always been flawed and remaking it into one that is just.
Do you expect me to believe that all this time, you've been fighting for justice?
How can I convince you? From our first breath to our last, every decision is made for us. Then, the afterlife decides what eternity we must endure. We can't even choose who we...
I do want to say, though, I am still not convinced that she wants to say we can't even choose who we serve. That it still feels as if it's too personal. It's something much closer to home. But what's more important, something we never even focused on, is her genuine gripe with this system. She reveals in this. Listen to this. She actually tells us what her biggest issue with the Shadowlands is.
How can I convince you? From our first breath to our last, every decision is made for us. Then, the afterlife decides what eternity we must endure.
The afterlife decides what eternity we must endure. That right there is her biggest gripe. When Sylvanas first saw how everything is put together, when she first saw what her future would be, that's when she realized, fuck no. I would rather die. I would rather live in agony and be free than be forced to serve based on some fucking purpose.
We can't even choose who we...
That bothers me. That like, fuck.
We couldn't
Never mind.
control anything. But through the jailer, control of our fate will at last be possible.
Look around you! At what and who you've joined. What makes you believe you're not just a weapon to achieve his ends?
You have a choice to consider. Join us willingly, or be made to serve.
So I wanted to answer a question that I received all the way, I think on Friday. There were people sort of asking, what if what she told him, join us willingly or be made to serve, actually meant that he would be made to serve later, so he would never achieve freedom? And to that I would say no. I've been thinking about it. I told you guys on Friday I would have a think and I would tell you eventually what I think ultimately. After thinking about it quite a bit this weekend, I genuinely believe it is just that. You will either join us willingly, in other words, the jailer will not control you, you will not be forced to wear domination runes, you will pick up Shalamon, and you will become a weapon of his vengeance, or we will dress you up in domination runes and you will fucking serve, right? That's it. Those are the only options you have. You can join willingly and fight on your own terms, or we will force you to fight. That is what I believe she said there. Anyways, let's get back to about the book. To succeed, Sylvanas will be forced to reflect on the harrowing path that brought her to the jailer's side and reveal her truest self to her greatest rival. Now, this part is something that we didn't pick up on Friday, and it took me a while for it to actually stand out, to reflect on the harrowing path that brought her to the jailer's side. For those of you that's talking about the genocide that Sylvanas had to commit, if you're talking about the wars that Sylvanas had to, all of these things that she had to do, the fact that she had to kill all those night elves, the fact that she had to start this war and push this war, right? This is the harrowing path that she will have to reflect on. She will have to face, as you see at the end of the vessel cinematic, right, where Sylvanas looks at Anduin and she looks at what she had done, right, to Anduin. The very thing that was done to her by Arthas, she has now done to Anduin, and that bothers her, right? She's not doing it and feeling nothing. But she understands that it has to happen. She has no other option. Now, for everyone that is sort of, I'm confused about this as well. And reveal her truest self to her greatest rival. To my mind, the only rival Sylvanas has ever faced is Arthas Menethil. Prior to Arthas Menethil, there has never been quote-unquote rival for Sylvanas. Now, would she be forced to reveal her truest self to Arthas? Probably not. So, it is to reveal herself to herself. Sylvanas will be forced to reveal who she is to herself. She will have to face herself. Look at herself in the... I don't know if there is mirrors in Torghast, but if there isn't, I'm sure she can conjure up some kind of ice thing that will act as a mirror. But she will have to face herself, right? No, truest rival, not Ghain. Ghain is small change compared to anything. If we're going to talk about mortals that may or may not have been her rivals, Arthas is the only one that stands out. There has physically in Sylvanas' entire life, the greatest foe that Sylvanas has ever had to face is Arthas Menethil. He ravaged her homeland, destroyed her and her armies, and then enslaved her, right, as a result of his victory. And then she spent the rest of her life, or from that moment forward at least, trying to take him down again, right? So that would literally be her greatest rival. Anduin, again, based on what we just saw in this cinematic, Anduin is not her rival. She doesn't hate Anduin. She doesn't despise Anduin. She doesn't even necessarily view him as an enemy. It is her greatest rival. He might be a rival, but Anduin would also not constitute her greatest rival, unless of course Blizzard is sort of playing fast and loose with the word greatest, because if Anduin is the greatest rival Sylvanas has ever faced, then one needs to ask, then what the fuck was Arthas? Anduin didn't come anywhere close to doing to Sylvanas what Arthas did, right? And so, greatest rival, yeah, probably not. But she has to reveal her truer self, which is probably going to be very cool. Here, Sylvanas' complete story is laid bare. From the breaking of the Windrunner family and her rise to Ranger General, to her own death at the hands of Arthas and her renewed purpose in the founding of the Forsaken, to the moment she first beheld the Maw and understood the true consequences of what lay beyond the veil of death. Now here, ladies and gentlemen, is where things really pick up speed. But as her moment of victory draws near, Sylvanas Windrunner will make a choice that may ultimately come to define her. A choice that's hers alone to make. If you read this entire thing, and that is not the part that stood out to you, then you have not been paying attention. Sylvanas Windrunner will make a choice that may ultimately come to define her, and the choice is hers alone to make. So, to go back to the original question that led to this almost half an hour fucking discussion, will Sylvanas die in 9.1? No. Sylvanas will win in 9.1. Sylvanas will most likely win in 9.2. Sylvanas will most likely win in 9.3. Sylvanas will keep winning until she reaches the ultimate choice. And that choice will come to define her. So she alone, in other words, it cannot be a choice that's forced by the promise of death. Right? Because then it's no longer a choice. Your choice is now already influenced by someone else. The choice needs to be something that there's no threat of her making this choice and then dying, or making this choice and then losing. The choice is hers. In other words, do I destroy everything? Do I bring the entire universe to its knees? Or do I forgive? Do I move on? Do I save my people? Do I save reality? What do I do? This choice is mine and mine alone to make. And when I make that choice, I will either go down in history as the greatest tyrant in all of history, or as the savior of the universe. Something to that effect. But it cannot be forced. So at no point can this be a final moment in a fight where she's on, last breath. It's like one fucking hit away from dying, and then she makes the choice to repent. Because at that point, you're no longer making the choice yourself. The choice is sort of forced, because if you don't make the choice, you will die. Which is the same kind of choice she gave Anduin in the cinematic, like a non-fucking choice, right? So, to my mind, this is the most important line in the entire About the Book section, is that, what choice? What will that choice constitute, and how will that choice come to be? will Sylvanas die in 9.1? Chances of that fairly slim, not only because of this and everything we've just discussed, but more importantly, Christy Golden, who is one of the lead writers for the World of Warcraft franchise, is personal friends with Patty Mattson, right? They're very good friends. Sylvanas is a staple character within the World of Warcraft universe. It is a character that I genuinely highly doubt Blizzard would ever write Sylvanas out of the story. Not entirely, not completely. That will just not happen. So yeah, I genuinely don't see Sylvanas just disappearing from the story. But of course, you guys might have some opinions, and I want to know, what do you guys think?